Good morning and welcome to the Farm Show here on Westplex Talk 1045. I'm your host, John Combest. It is Saturday, September 6th, and boy, do we have a packed show today. I don't know if we're going to be able to get through all the stuff that I want to talk about in A Block in our first segment today, but we're going to do our dangdest to get it all in. Might have to move some stuff over to B Block. That's our second segment today. As always, want to point out that you can join us on Facebook at Farm Show Radio. That's Farm Show Radio on Facebook. You can also join us on Instagram at Farm Show Radio. And I bet you can figure out where you can find us on YouTube. That's right, at Farm Show Radio on YouTube. Before we get started, I want to promote something that our radio station owner, Brad Hildebrand, has been promoting. Brad's been promoting it on our weekday talk show. Brad and I host the Brad and John Show, colloquially known as the BJ Show, here on Westplex Talk 1045. That's Monday through Friday from 7 a.m. to 8 a.m. Brad has been a part of a group called Habitat for Humanity. I should say he's helped with one of the events for Habitat for Humanity called Over the Edge. It's a really unique fundraising opportunity. I think it's appropriate because most days, Monday through Friday, I actually put Brad over the edge of sanity. If you want to find out more about how you and your friends can help this Over the Edge event, you can go to stcharlesregionalchamber.com. You click on events, you can find out what Over the Edge is all about. The event will be taking place on Saturday, September 20th. The event runs from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Individuals, teams, businesses, and organizations can register and raise at least $1,000 to secure their rappel spot. That's right, you will be rappelling off the Embassy Suites in St. Charles. That's at Convention Center Plaza in St. Charles. So, again, for more information, go to stcharlesregionalchamber.com. A lot of events going on. We have two things I want to mention right off the bat. Right now going on just down the road in Springfield is the Stockmanship and Stewardship for cattle producers. You might recall a couple weeks ago, we had Allie Crick from the Missouri Beef Industry Council going on. Another important milestone, I guess you could say, taking place today. It is the deadline for public comments on the EPA's proposed rules for Dicamba applications. We're going to talk about this more in C block and our third block, roundabout, we'll call it 10:40 or so this morning, if we hit our time cues. We'll talk about that in C block. For the rest of A block, we're going to talk about corn, we're going to talk about soybeans, we'll talk about cattle, and if we have time in A block, we might even talk about a new soybean pest. So let's get into it. Let's start with cattle. We're going to be pretty row crops heavy today, but I do want to mention a piece that appeared in the Farm Progress family of publications. You can find it by going to farmprogress.com. It's a piece from Daryl Peel at Oklahoma State, and he's talking about beef prices. Mr. Peel writes, beef prices are being pushed higher by tight cattle supplies and stronger cattle prices. The reported July all-fresh retail beef price was $8.90 per pound, a record. In late August, choice box beef prices reached about $412. Peel continues, wholesale and retail beef prices are supported by continued strong consumer demand and declining beef production, projected to be down 3% or more year over year. Peel says there is no quick fix, and beef production is projected to decline further in 2026 and possibly beyond. Consumers will face high and even higher beef prices for another 2 to 3 years at least. I won't read the whole piece to you. Again, you can find it at farmprogress.com. I'll just get to the punchline. The last two things Mr. Peel states are, feedlot inventories were down in August for the 8th consecutive month. In fact, The August feedlot inventory of 10.92 million head was the smallest monthly inventory since October 2017. The apparent slow grind to herd rebuilding suggests sustained high cattle prices until late in the decade, with a gentle peak somewhere along the way. Consumers will face elevated costs for at least 2 to 3 more years. Find that piece at farmprogress.com. It's on the main page. And certain to be on the main page of Missouri newspapers in about 2 months is going to be the Governor's Conference on Agriculture. News came out just this week that registration is now open for the 51st Missouri Governor's Conference on Agriculture, scheduled for November 12th to 13th at the Wyndham Executive Center in Columbia, Missouri. Here's what Governor Mike Kehoe had to say. As a first-generation farmer and proud supporter of our state's top economic driver, I look forward to joining agriculture partners from across the state in Columbia for this conference. A priority of our administration is to help create opportunities to add value to the agriculture products grown and raised here. The Governor's Conference on Agriculture will bring all aspects of the industry together to talk about ways to move agriculture forward. The announcement from the Department of Ag says, Missouri farmers, ranchers, agribusiness leaders, and aspiring agriculturalists are invited to enjoy the program, which will include a commodity outlook, awards luncheon, and nationally recognized speakers. The popular Best of Missouri Grown reception will also return on Wednesday, November 12th. Here's a quote from Ag Director Chris Chen. We are excited to host the Governor's Conference. A tremendous speaker lineup will offer valuable information for farmers, ranchers, and agribusiness owners. We look forward to welcoming producers from across Missouri. The announcement continues, the Missouri Agriculture Awards will honor 2 individuals who are leaders in Missouri agriculture education and food animal veterinary medicine. To nominate a leader for a Missouri Agriculture Award, visit agriculture.mo.gov/awards. Nominations are due by September 30th. Conference registration is required and is now available. For more information on the conference, go to agriculture.mo.gov. Now, speaking of leaders in the ag industry, we talk on this show that we focus on the 4 keys in our 4-county area. Our 4-county area being Franklin County, Warren County, St. Charles County, and West St. Louis County. Those 4 P's are the people, the profit, the production, and the policy that affects farmers and ranchers out here. Right now, let's focus on the people aspect for a moment. The Missouri Soybean Association and the Missouri Soybean Merchandising Council are proud to announce the newest class of the Missouri Grassroots Fellowship program. Now in its 5th year, the fellowship prepares young farmers to be strong advocates and leaders through policy training, advocacy experiences, and global market development opportunities. This information, of course, is brought to us by the Missouri Soybean Association. You can find them at mosoy.org. And we should point out that one of the members of the Missouri Grassroots Fellowship program, I guess you could call him an honoree of the program, is right here in our 4-county listening area, straight out of Warrenton. Craig Schneider. He's in District 6 of the Missouri Soybean Association. He is a customer business advisor at Bayer. He's been at Bayer since January of 2017, and he is a graduate of Mizzou. Here's what the Missouri Soybean Association says about their program. The Missouri Grassroots Fellowship is designed to prepare young farmers ages 25 to 45 to be strong advocates for agriculture and leaders in their communities. Fellows participate in a year-long program featuring in-depth sessions on policy, media training, and grassroots engagement. They also take part in advocacy trips to Jefferson City and Washington, D.C., and learn about international trade opportunities through global market development. Renee Fordyce, she's the president of the Missouri Soybean Association. She says, Investing in the next generation of leaders is essential for the future of Missouri agriculture. This fellowship equips farmers with the skills, relationships, and experiences they need to represent their peers and strengthen the voice of agriculture. Now in its fifth year, the Missouri Grassroots Fellowship has built a strong track record of shaping future leaders who step into roles on local boards, commodity organizations, and statewide initiatives. For more information on the Missouri Grassroots Fellowship Program, or if you have some money in mind that you'd like to nominate for next year, go to mosoy.org. And in other commodity news this week, big news coming from the Missouri corn growers. I'm going to bring to you a piece from Jake Kroesen. He's the editor of the Missouri Times. You can find this piece by going to themissouritimes.com. The headline from Jake: Missouri corn growers plan new headquarters. Here's what Jake reports. The Missouri Corn Growers Association is planting roots for the future with plans to move into a new, expanded headquarters next year. The move marks a major milestone for the organization, reflecting its commitment to supporting Missouri's farmers and strengthening the state's agricultural economy. Here's a quote from CEO Brad Shad. As our farmers grow, so do we. He emphasizes that the expansion is part of a long-term investment strategy designed to meet the needs of today's corn growers while preparing for the opportunities of tomorrow. Jake reports, the new facility will feature more space for events, workshops, and innovative projects, enabling MCGA to expand its educational efforts and advocacy work on behalf of its members. According to the association, these additional resources will play a key role in helping Missouri's corn industry remain competitive and sustainable for years to come. Jake continues, the timing of this expansion comes on the heels of a strong showing for corn at this year's Missouri State Fair. MCGA members and leaders were highly engaged throughout the event, attending the agriculture dinner and the governor's ham breakfast, hosting meetings and demonstrations with Missouri's congressional and senatorial delegations, and even sitting down with State Treasurer Vivek Malik to discuss the importance of the MOBUX program for rural economies. These high-level conversations underscored MCGA's role as a driving force in state and federal agricultural policy. Corn isn't just important on the farm, it's a major part of Missouri's economy. Jake says, here's how, and he lays out the stats. In 2022, corn brought in almost $3.58 billion, with a B, in cash receipts, making it one of the state's top crops. Grain sales alone totaled about $3.5 billion, not including the 1.65 million tons of silage used for livestock feed. Exports of Missouri-grown corn added nearly $345 million in revenue that year, bringing Missouri corn to markets around the world. Jake continues, corn also supports other industries throughout value-added products like ethanol, animal feed, and food ingredients, keeping jobs and investment in local communities. Overall, agriculture is a powerhouse for Missouri, contributing about $93.7 billion to the state's economy and supporting 456,000 jobs. Crop production alone, including corn, accounts for $5.4 billion and more than 81,000 jobs. Bottom line, corn is a big deal for Missouri, creating jobs, boosting trade, and helping local communities grow. Jake sums it up with a quote from Brad Shad. With this new space, we'll be able to bring more people together, share more knowledge, and develop the programs and tools farmers need to succeed. It's all about growing opportunities, both for our members and for the state of Missouri. Jake says, the association plans to officially move into the new building next year, signaling a new chapter in its mission to advance Missouri agriculture. For MCGA, the message is clear. When farmers thrive, Missouri thrives, and the association is looking to stay committed to building the future, one crop and one community at a time. Again, that piece is from Jake Kroesen. The headline is Missouri Corn Growers Plan New Headquarters. You can find it by going to themissouritimes.com. And good news, it looks like we do have time to sneak in an update on a new soybean pest. This story is brought to us by Farm Progress family of publications, specifically Chris Six from Missouri Ruralist. And the headline is New Soybean Pest Discovered in Missouri Field. Soybean tentiform leafminer shows up in central Missouri as agronomists search for effective control methods. Mr. Six writes that MU Extension state crop entomologist Ivar Valmorbida confirmed the pest identification in a field near Boonville, Missouri, the first week of August. Valmorbida says another MU Extension agronomist found the pest when searching the field for signs of it. Of the 70 fields sampled by agronomists so far, the tentiform leaf miner was only found in the one field. Why is it harmful? Chris Six asks. The pest is becoming more common in northern Midwest states such as Minnesota and North Dakota. Just last year, it was found in Nebraska. Valmorbida says small white larvae feed inside soybean leaves, creating mines that do not cross the main leaf veins, resulting in affected leaf tissue dying off and reducing active leaf area, similar to defoliation. As the larva matures, it turns pale green. Also, Mr. Six talked to Blake Barlow from the Missouri Soybean Association. He's the director of research and agronomy. And Blake says farmers will need to look on the underside of the soybean leaf to spot the tentiform leaf miner. Barlow says there'll be these little small circles where the leaf miners are eating. And when it gets big enough, it will obviously break through that leaf tissue. Valmorbida says adults also lay eggs on the undersides of soybean leaves when soybeans are actively growing. Six continues in his report. Both Barlow and Valmorbida say the pest feeds on crops at the edges of the field, especially near wooded areas. This is because it is overwintering there. The insect also feeds on two native plants, American hog plant and slickseed fuzzy bean. The presence of these species near soybean fields may favor its presence in soybean fields during the growing season, Valmorbida adds. Six continues, adult insects are described as having orange and white wings with gray-black marks and are roughly less than a quarter-inch long in size. And to cut to the chase, Mr. Six ends, should Missouri farmers be concerned? Valmorbida and Barlow urge farmers to watch for those circles and mines on the underside of their soybean leaves. Valmorbida says, it can be a concern for soybean growers, given that this pest has been identified in other states as well. My lab will continue monitoring the presence of this species across the state. And Mr. Six ends, if you see signs of soybean leaf miner, reach out to Valmorbida and his team at the MU Extension. While there are no well-established management practices for the insect, he points out that University of Missouri researchers report several parasitic wasps and translaminar insects could provide control. Blake Barlow from the Soybean Association continues, if the miner is inside the leaf, insecticides are not going to be very effective, as if the insect was out in the elements actually getting contacted with the insecticide. You could reach Ivar Valmorbida at 573-882-6446 or email him. I won't try reading his name, but you can find it by going to farmprogress.com, look up leaf miner, or look up stories by Chris Six, and you'll find this piece. That's all the time we have for A Block. I'm glad we were able to get it all in. When we come back in B Block, our second segment of the show, we'll talk about news and notes from Farm Progress when we come back. You're listening to The Farm Show. That's Farm and Ranch, Missouri, right here on Westplex Talk 104.5. We'll be right back.